Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Prop Wiz. I'm your host, The Wiz. Netflix, as you know, as it is a couple of days later, dropped the first episodes from Avatar: The Last Airbender series. Now, I do plan on doing a review of the whole series, but as of now, I've only watched the first episodes. My kids are out of town for the next couple of days. The animated series is something we always watch together. We watched over and over again from the time that it aired. Well, my daughter's 12, so she joined in when she was old enough. But this is something that I just always watch and enjoy with my kids. I've never watched the animated series without them. So I thought it was only right that I watched the live action series with them, but I did get permission from them to watch the first episode so I can go ahead and at least review that now. And then once I finish the whole series, I'll probably do just an overall series review. But anyways, as far as episode 1, absolutely epic. I'm not gonna lie, of course, I've already done reviews on the trailers. I was already expecting this thing to be good. Of course, there was a chance that they were gonna fail or slipped up, but I'm here to report that everything is dope. In terms of specifics, the only thing that I was worried about, the new showrunners did speak about, well, first of all, even speaking about that, the showrunners from the animated series were a part of this show, but they end up leaving because of artistic differences. So that's always a scary thing when this show, the animated series, is so great, and this is what you want this live action to represent. When the guys that created that wasn't seeing eye to eye creatively, was a little bit scary. So that was number one. And number two, the current showrunners actually made a statement that they were going to change the beginning. And the way they worded that made me feel like they were going to, kind of tweak the origin a little bit. Now, as of now, I've only seen the first episode, so maybe later on down the road, they might show something. Really what that meant was that the first episode kind of showed some things out of order a little bit. So there was the very first thing that happened, the majority of the thing focusing on Aang's origin, where he came from. That kind of thing was later on in the series, if I remember correctly. It definitely wasn't the first episode, whereas this one kind of starts chronologically. So in other words, they really didn't change the origin that much, if at all, to be honest with you. So that's very, very awesome, man. Again, just slightly out of order, but showed everything that we've already seen in the cartoon. With that being said, diving into the review, I already said the show was awesome, but the things that made it awesome is right from the beginning, how it was hitting the beats from the animated series. Just starting with the music, not just the overall main score, but it had like little music beats. I mean, just very, very subtle music parts, music cues that was in the show was in this. So it just gave you that feeling like they were really, really trying to make a live action copy of the animated series. Now, normally, me personally, I always appreciate a deviation because the animated series already exists. We already seen it. It's okay for you to do some things that's different. Again, this is the first episode, so it might veer off just a little bit. But so far, and even with that being said, even if they do veer off, I'm glad they gave us this first episode to establish, yo, we love you guys. We know you guys are fans like we are fans. We're staying true to the source material. So number one thing that I love was the music. Also the intro, you got the intro with the fire, water, that whole announcement, man. I think they hit that kind of twice, two different ways in this show. Again, reminiscent of the original animated. Absolutely loved it. The tone of the show was spot on, and probably the most risky thing, because watching the animated series, you have both this epic feeling, you got drama, you got scenes that make you want to cry, but most of all, you got this humor, this lightheartedness feeling due to mostly to the fact that Avatar and his comrades are kids or younger. That was one of those things I just knew was going to be very, very difficult to strike. In my opinion, that was one of the main things that M. Night Shyamalan got wrong with his movie. Some people might think it's other things that's going on. To be honest with you, the look of it, a lot that M. Night did, I thought was good, definitely passable. I understand what he was trying to do. He thought he was making this more palatable to a larger crowd, a larger fan base in terms of age. So his movie didn't have that humor. It didn't strike that tone. This show was like, F it, we know it worked with, again, I know I keep saying that. We know we worked with the animated series, so let's just stick to it. And dude, it was just great. It had some funny parts. It had some real light parts. And already in the first episode, because again, it deals with Aang's origin. And I'm not going to go into detail, somewhat spoilerish, I guess, but I'm not going to go into deep detail since we're going to definitely do a full series review later. But it did go into his origin, which is definitely a sad thing. I mean, the kid was frozen in ice for 100 years. There's a lot of weight that comes with that. A lot of people you miss or whatnot. So they kind of dealt with that a little bit. So you had those scenes that were definitely more drama, leaning in the drama department. Another thing that stood out real great was the visual effects, and also probably my only critique. Overall, I'll say about 98% of the visual effects were phenomenal, looked great. I mean, I had to keep reminding myself, wow, this is a TV show. There was some scenes, especially the landscape scenes, were right there on par with something you would see in Game of Thrones or something like that. It just felt massive, felt real, felt like they were there. With that being said, there was a 2%, maybe even a 1%. It was just a small percentage. Couple of visual effects scenes that were wonky. I'll give it wonky. Weren't completely whack, weren't completely bad. In fact, probably more standardized with something you would expect to see on TV, normally on a TV show. And I would say some of the effects in this reminded me more of a supernatural thing, but like I said, 98% of the effects felt like Game of Thrones level. So really, that's the only critique that I walk away with. And again, this is the first episode. Some of the scenes that were wonky were hard to do. Like, they were scenes with him flying around this giant air tribe city where he's just flying around in the air. So probably a lot of green screens, probably something that was probably a little bit more difficult to be as convincing as the rest of the show. But again, wasn't bad, just wasn't great. The rest of the visual effects were phenomenal, especially the hand-to-hand combat, how they were mixing visual effects with live action fights. Dude, this show is dope. Another bright spot on this thing, which probably a lot of people are going to be talking about, already been talking about, is the actors. I do feel like the trailer showed us what they look like. They played a couple of voices here and there, but we really didn't get to see these guys in action, actually talking, being the characters until this first episode came out. Man, and the actors were phenomenal. Sokka in particular, like he's got that humor and wisecracking, man. That actor, man, nailed that character to a T. Of course, Aang, Katara, to me, the most emotional character is probably Katara. The most grounded character is her, and she brought that A game. And of course, Aang just have that boyish wonder. Yo, this kid brought it, man. These actors is Gordon Cormier plays Aang, man. That dude is dope. He got the look, he got the act. Phenomenal job with the actors. Prince Zuko's character, phenomenal. Same thing. I've never seen this kid before. He looked kind of young when I saw him in the trailer. Again, I had seen so much of the trailer, I already trusted it. But out of everybody, he was the only one that I was kind of looking at like, man, I hope you can bring it, man. He looked like a nice kid to me with a scar on his face. But dude, he brought the angle, man. The cat that played his uncle, that played on Kim Convenience, also dope. He brought that was one of those characters I wasn't sure they were going to replace, because I like the voice actor that played that character. That, of course, passed away during the making of that, man. But so I thought he had a lot of weight on his shoulders, man. He had this character that he had to bring to life, kind of make it his own, and absolutely did that. Anyways, the story itself, again, like I said, it tread the same ground as some of the first couple of episodes of Avatar. I'm not sure if this was just the first episode or first two episodes from the animated. It didn't feel like they packed a whole lot into this. In a sense, it didn't feel like it was crammed. But I do believe the first episode was at least an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. The first episode was definitely a little bit longer. And you can feel that, not in a bad way, but you can just tell there was a lot of story, a lot of ground we covered. But I do feel like they covered that ground well. And the first episode ended on the mission, so it felt like the story is going to really get going come to episode 2. Anyways, I just wanted to give that, man, just those thoughts, just to put something out there on the Prop Wiz to let you guys know what I think about this. Definitely worth watching. Go ahead and hop on it, so by the time I do the series review, you would have already watched it and I'll be free to do the spoiler review. Do that. What you waiting for? You waiting for the end of this, right? Well, listen, that's my review, man. So far, episode 1, 10 out of 10 episode. But listen, as always, I want to hear what you guys think. If you've already seen the first episode, don't spoil the rest of it for me, but if you've seen the first episode, leave me some comments. Let me know what you guys think about it so far. Tone, what you think they got right, what you think they got wrong. Let me know in the comment section. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Prop Wiz. Please subscribe to the page. Also, hit that notify button. That way you get notified every time I drop a new video. Also, while I'm on the subject, I got my shirt from my album World Away. It just dropped a couple of weeks ago. Man, definitely check that out. I got some links down below as well to my album. Go copy it. Go listen to it. If you're a fan of comic books, fan of space, man, the album's called World Away, so it's on that sci-fi tip. Go check it out. And on that topic of support, I want to thank you guys. As always, thank you guys for your support. I love you to death, and I'll check you out next time, all right? Peace.